Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and I'm a self-employed mama of four. My husband and I are on a journey to become debt-free using a zero-based budget and the cash stuffing method because our biggest goal is to invest wisely and give generously. So if you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. Okay, I'm super excited to finally be making this video. It has been on my to-do list for months, and I decided this morning that today is the day I'm going to be making a video about how to start the cash envelope system. So a few things that I'm going to cover in this video today are, number one, what is the cash envelope system and why do people do it? Number two, how to actually get started with the cash envelope system. Number three, the materials that you're going to need to get started. Number four, my process for cash stuffing. And then I'm also going to share a little bit about my journey and how my husband and I got into cash stuffing, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up with a Q&A. Okay, so let's just dive right in. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is what the cash envelope system is. The cash envelope system is a way to track how much money you have in each budget category for the month by keeping your cash organized in envelopes. So if you are consistently going overboard in certain categories for your budget, those are definitely categories that you should be cash stuffing for. So you're gonna withdraw cash from the bank that you budgeted for that category and put it in an envelope. Then when you shop for that category, you are only going to use the cash that you have in that envelope. And when it's gone, and you stop spending in that category. This is going to stop you from overspending so that you can stay within your budget and hit your money goals faster. So in conclusion, it really is that simple. The cash envelope system is literally putting cash in envelopes that you've designated for a specific category. And before I go any further, I do have to say one thing. And this is what is going to make or break whether or not you stick with the cash envelope system. And that's having a reason for doing it. A really solid why. And everyone's reason is going to be different because everyone's financial journey is different. Everyone's values are different. And so you have to figure out what your why is, because that's going to be the one thing that's going to drive you in the months that it feels really, really hard and you feel like giving up. I know for me and my husband, we were so sick and tired of feeling like we had never had any money. Like we would literally get paid and have no idea where that money went. Ultimately, we didn't want our kids growing up watching us be stressed about money all the time. And we wanted to learn how to manage our money so that we could teach our kids how to manage theirs. We made a lot of mistakes early on in our relationship and we started our marriage off drowning in debt. And that's not the life that we want to live. And so we have worked really hard the last couple of years to dig our way out of debt. And that's honestly one of our big whys. We want our kids to have a positive view on money. And for me personally, one of my big whys is that I want to be able to leave a $200 tip at a restaurant just because I can. Generosity has always been at the heart of everything that I do, and it's a big reason that I want to be completely debt-free and start building wealth so that I'm able to give freely as I want to. Okay, so I'm gonna hit you with a fun fact. Did you know that money management is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior? So you have to change your behavior in order to change your future. And everyone can make excuses, but everyone can do this. I don't care how often you're paid. I don't care when your bills come out or how far of a drive it is to get to the bank. Everyone can do this. You can do this. And I'm gonna be honest, budgeting is hard, but being broke is also hard, and you just have to choose your heart. Okay, I'm done with the tough love. Let's move into number two, which is how the cash envelope system works. So one of the reasons that we tend to overspend is because there's nothing telling us when to stop. There's a lot of research and psychology behind that, but here's the simple explanation. When you use a card, you don't feel anything. You just swipe your card and then you put it back in your wallet and just go on with your life. But when you use cash, it actually triggers the pain sensors in your brain and you feel it. On average, people will spend 18% more paying with a credit card or a debit card than they will with cash. I'm serious. You can fact check me on that. So here's where the cash envelopes come in. They're a great tool that will help you to stay within your budget, especially if you're a spender like me. So I'm gonna talk about the 4 common categories that people typically use for cash stuffing. So number 1 is your bills, which are also known as your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are the same amount every single month. This could include your rent, your car payment, your utilities, your phone bill, subscriptions, and things like that. Next is your variable expenses. And variable expenses are things that can change month to month. Variable expenses are things like coffee, groceries, gas, pet care, vehicle maintenance, etc. Okay, so let's talk about sinking funds. And sinking funds are funds that you put money aside so that it can accumulate over time. So sinking funds are typically used for those categories that you tend to overspend on or that you forget about. I know we've all been there. You get paid and you feel like you have a bunch of money, and so you go out and you splurge on that new purse that you wanted, or if you're like me, more organizing bins for your house. And so you spend that money and don't take into account that your car's gonna need an oil change, that your kids need back to school supplies, and those things just kind of sneak up on you. That's what sinking funds are for. So some common categories for sinking funds would be like Christmas, car maintenance, household needs, gifts, back to school supplies, holidays, things like that. Okay, and then the fourth category that I'm gonna cover is savings challenges. And savings challenges are really good for people who maybe don't find a ton of joy in saving. It's just a fun way to be able to save up cash over time. Savings challenges just make saving more fun, and it motivates you to set money aside in your budget for saving. Okay, so now that we've covered all of those things, let's talk about how to actually start the process of cash stuffing. Some of you guys are gonna exit the video right now because people get all cringy when they hear the word budget, but truly that is the first step with cash stuffing, is that you need to have a written budget, and I highly suggest a zero-based budget. All right, so in reference to the people who are cringing right now hearing the word budget, just hear me out when I say this, that a budget is not meant to restrict you, it's actually meant to give you more freedom. And I'm not gonna go over how to create a budget in this video because I actually have another video that I will link in the description where I talk all about zero-based budgets and walk you through how to create your own zero-based budget. But basically, a zero-based budget means that you are giving every dollar a job before it hits your bank account. And if you've never created a budget before, what I recommend doing is pulling up your most recent bank statement and going through that bank statement with different colored highlighters and just highlighting different categories. So one for your fixed expenses, like your bills, one for your variable expenses, like how much you spend on groceries, gas, coffee, clothing, etc. And then going through and highlighting any miscellaneous things. I will tell you, the first time my husband and I did that, we were like, whoa. We realized where all our money was going, and it wasn't any huge purchases that we were making that were just crazy. It was all of these little transactions that added up, and we were like, that's where our money is going. And so I highly recommend going through your bank statement so you can have an idea of where you're spending and how you can take control of areas that you may be overspending in. So I'm gonna talk about some different materials that you could use to make your budget, and it's gonna be completely up to you and whatever works best for you. A lot of people like apps, and there are some great apps out there if you wanna keep track of your budget on an app. And some people are paper people. So you could literally just use a notebook to make your budget. Start with your income and then move through your fixed expenses and then your variable expenses and then your sinking funds and then your savings challenges, and just keep track of it on a piece of paper. Or if you're someone who wants to track in a more structured way, I do have an A5 budget binder that is available on my website. You don't need anything from my website to start budgeting. I just want to make that statement right now. I'm going to show you some things that I have on my website, and they're on my website because I personally use them and love them. You don't need anything from my website to get started with your cash stuffing. But with this A5 budget binder, there are tracking pages for your budget to track how much money you're keeping in your cash envelopes, pages to make a zero-based budget, pages to track your cash planning for your cash stuffing, and then an online spending tracking sheet. So you could use something like this, and you don't have to use mine. You might find someone else's that you love even more. So if you're someone who likes something more structured, there are plenty of options available out there. Or like I said, if you're tight on cash, just literally grab a piece of paper. I'm sure you have a piece of paper laying around your house. All right, so now that you have your budget all written up, now you need to decide what categories you want to have. And this part can either be super fun for some people or super overwhelming for other people. I'm gonna just suggest that if you're just starting out, maybe choose 5 to 10 categories that you want to start cash stuffing with so that you can really get the hang of it, and you can always add more categories later. But hey, if you're simply looking for a place to start, here's 10 categories that I recommend starting with. Okay, so now that you have your written budget and your categories, let's talk about the materials that you're gonna need for cash stuffing. You really only need a couple things: a piece of paper and some envelopes. And check this out, you can go to the Dollar Tree or Walmart and pick up some plain white envelopes and simply write the names of the categories on your envelopes. These are what I used when I started cash stuffing 4 years ago, and I have a picture to prove it. The moral of the story is that you don't need fancy cash envelopes to start the cash envelope system. Are they nice to have? Yeah, for sure, but they're not a necessity, and this is about you taking control of your finances. And so in this season, if this is what you have money for, this is what you should use. You could even get super fancy and use different colored markers for your different categories like I did. Another really low cost option would be something like this, which I just picked up from Walmart for I think like $3. So this is like an accordion type folder where you can make different categories and stick the cash in these different slots here. And it also comes with these tabs so you can label the different tabs that are in here. So this is another really great option if you're looking to keep your cost low. Other options would be using binders like this. This is what I call a clear binder. I don't know what else to call it. A lot of people will use laminated cash envelopes and put them in a binder like this. And some people prefer to use the clear zipper envelopes like this. The moral of the story is use the pretty envelopes if you're able to. But if you're not able to in this season, it's okay to get a pack of envelopes from the Dollar Tree because they hold money just the same. Okay, so we're gonna head over to my kitchen because that's typically where I cash stuff, and I'm just gonna briefly walk you through my process of cash stuffing. Okay, so let's talk about the process of cash stuffing. So number one, you're going to make your written zero-based budget. So once I have my zero-based budget, I'm gonna move on over to my cash planning page and write down all of the categories that I want to cash stuff for. I typically recommend cash stuffing for each paycheck. So if you're paid twice a month, you'll cash stuff twice a month. If you're paid once a month, you can cash stuff once a month. And if you're paid weekly, you can cash stuff weekly. It's completely up to you. Once you've finished writing down all the categories in your cash planning worksheet, you can go through and decide which denominations you want to pull cash from the bank. Then I like to just total up those numbers down at the bottom so that I can easily transfer that onto a teller slip. You do not need to get teller slips from my website in order to cash stuff. You can simply use a piece of paper and hand that piece of paper to the teller at the bank. Then when you get home, you're gonna set out your cash and using your cash planning sheet and put the cash in its designated home. Hopefully that brief explanation was helpful to you. If not, I have a ton of videos that explain my process for cash stuffing. You can look up any of my cash stuffing videos and I'll link a few in the description too. But I walk you through my process in just about every one of my cash stuffing videos. I also have online spending videos where I track my online spending because I do use my debit card to purchase groceries online and to purchase gas. And I do make plenty of Amazon purchases as well. So if you want to learn more about my process for how I track my online spending while still cash stuffing, definitely check out some of those videos as well, and I'll link them all in the description. I personally love the cash envelope system because it's helped me manage my money better than I ever have. Okay, so as promised, I'm gonna end this video with just a little Q&A for you guys. A really long time ago, I posted on YouTube and Instagram and asked people to ask me their burning questions about cash stuffing, or if they've been cash stuffing for a while, what they wish they would have known ahead of time. Okay, so the first question, what is a magic month? The magic month is when people who are paid weekly or bi-weekly get an extra paycheck in that month. So for example, if someone's paid bi-weekly, but there are 3 Fridays in the month, they experience a magic month because they get an extra paycheck that month. How do I start cash stuffing along with doing the snowball method? Make a budget. So you'll start by budgeting out your bills and your fixed expenses, and then you'll move on to your variable expenses and budget those out, and then you'll throw everything extra that you have at your debt snowball. If you're following Dave Ramsey's baby steps, then you already have an emergency fund in place because that's baby step number 1, and baby step number 2 is the debt snowball. So that's why you throw everything else extra that you have at your debt snowball. How to budget when I'm only paid once a month. You're gonna start with your income minus your expenses, and that should equal 0. How are people pulling money out for bills when it's coming out of their account? So people who cash stuff for bills are typically 1 month ahead, meaning they're not cash stuffing for that month's bills, they're cash stuffing for the next month's bills. So the money that they have to pay for the current month is already in their account and they're currently cash stuffing for the next month. To get there, they likely saved up for a period of time so that they could be a month ahead. Do you carry cash envelopes with you all the time? Yes and no, but yes. So I cash stuff in binders like this with cash envelopes like this, and I keep these at home. I don't take these with me. When I do go somewhere, I bring my wallet, which I carry a few cash envelopes in. So I do carry cash envelopes with me, but they usually don't have a ton of money in them. I cash stuff these weekly so that they're ready to go for the week, and I'm typically pulling out of my binders like this to stuff my wallet. How much should you set aside for an emergency fund? That honestly just depends on your lifestyle and your income. You know, is it just you? Do you have kids? Do you have a pet? You drive an old car? Just think about what amount would make you feel comfortable if your water heater broke or you had to take a trip to the ER. How to get started. I'm trying to cash stuff while bills and rent are due. It always goes back to the budget. It's always scary until you look at the numbers and face them and actually make a budget. When you give every dollar a job, you know exactly what to do with those dollars. It gives you a sense of control. So make a budget. So this question's a little more personal, but I'm cool with it. Do you take advantage of high interest savings account and cashback credit cards? I have a very unpopular opinion about this one. And since you asked, I'm gonna tell you, high interest savings account, heck yes. I absolutely take advantage of high interest savings accounts. Credit cards, not me. No, thank you. I'm not gonna touch a credit card with a 10-foot pole. I don't care what the reward system is. I cannot be trusted with a credit card. I've gotten myself into such big trouble using credit cards, so that is a big NO for me. What do you do when you totally blow your budget and run out of cash? I stop spending. If the money is not in the envelope, I don't get to buy the thing I want to buy. But if you're talking like groceries and things like that, you just have to get creative. But really, this is where discipline comes into play. Remember earlier when I said that money management is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior? This is where you're really gonna have to look at yourself in the mirror. And if you're finding that you're really having a hard time making ends meet, you might have to just increase your income. There's a million ways to make money nowadays, a million different side hustles that don't require a ton of time and typically allow you to work from home. So if you're finding yourself in a pinch every single month and not able to afford groceries, you just have to find a way to increase your income. How do you decide how much to put in each envelope? When you're creating your budget, you decide how much money you're going to put into each envelope, and it will just depend on your income for the month, what you have coming up, and like I said, what your values and what your lifestyle is. One person might feel comfortable having $500 in their vehicle maintenance envelope, while the next person feels more comfortable having $2,000. So how much you decide to put in each envelope is completely up to you, and I can almost guarantee that there will not be one month that is exactly the same. What is the difference between all the different size binders? I love that question, and I get that question a lot. So here's a size comparison with the different size binders. So this one is an A5 size, this is A6, and this is A7. So the A5 is what I use for my budget binder. The A6 is the size where you can put the cash in the envelope like this. And then A7 is more of like a wallet size where you fold the cash in half and put it in the envelopes. That's it for this Q&A. If you still have more questions, definitely drop them in the comments below. I do my best to go through and answer every single question to the best of my ability. Just remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I am just a mom of four sharing my budgeting journey and what has worked for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. And just know that I am always here to cheer you on with your money goals and your life goals. I'll see you in my next video.